I wish you could see the weather. It's so beautiful. It's raining and the sky is kind of funny. Anyway, I'm gonna tune it in. Hello everyone. So we're gonna have a look on the energies, what we are going through right now, energetically, emotionally, physically, how is it playing out in the body. I show you a Schumann Resonance chart, I go through it, and yeah. Okay, so one of the biggest thing what is happening right now is that we are revisiting our trauma. Probably like one of the biggest pieces what we encounter like as a child, as a children, like in the childhood. Most of the people who are on this call or who are on this like in this transmission are having either their mom is dead or they have a very difficult relationship with the mother. There is a lot of toxicity, or there is a lot of turmoil, there is abandonment, there's all sort of lack of nurturing, there's all sort of like issues what we like. If you have a look on the history or like on our family lineages, it's very common that we have so much problems there with like our caregivers. And that's the number one thing what is showing up right now, and it is all like the sacral chakra. So the pain in the body what you might be experiencing now is all about, is like from the stomach down, also the feet, legs, feet, hips, pelvic bone, the sit bones, kidneys. You might even feel it in the arms because it's like the letting go, you know. And in the feet there's a tons of stuff. Let's say in the knees there is a jealousy, there is envy, there is all kind of in the calf muscles there are all chakras. So you know, I feel them spinning, I feel them like releasing, and I'm kind of filtering all and the entire collective energies constantly, unfortunately. And that some of you as a Starseeds and Lightworkers came here to do is transmute those lower frequencies, or like these like dense energies, and you have to filter it through the body to transmute it. Actually, it's not possible to bypass it. So the number one thing is the spiritual bypassing is not gonna work for anyone who is on the who is a light worker or a starseed or a way shower who is awake, is gonna be dealing with heavy stuff. Like, you know, the spiritual journey is not lights and unicorns and rainbows. It's not, you know, it's all the crumbling of the illusions and like a big disillusionment and coming from the untruth to the truth. But with that thing as well is what's coming up in the body, because the body is going with us. It's your vessel, it's your vehicle, and even though you know that you're just temporary in here, that you're gonna leave the body anyway, you know, we still will be experiencing a lot of pain in those areas, especially around the mother figure, about the nurturing aspect, about there is a lot of trauma as well on the birth. Here comes with these like heavy topics of the, let's say, abortion. You know what a lot of our mothers went through. There is a lot of abortion, let's say, in my family lineage, or a lot of you probably went as well, did this choice and went through it as well, or it was like you couldn't carry on like with the pregnancy itself, so that happened on its own. There is a lot of like these things, but there is a massive amount of the fragmentation in it, and that is all the sacral chakra. This is all the womb, because that's a center or the house of creation. And a lot of us are having some sort of traumas, and we're gonna be revisiting it again this autumn, because we are purging it out. I think it started with the movement of like the female rights, my body, my choice. So those energies started to popping up to the surface again, and obviously it starts with the body. You know, it will always show up in the body. There is no judgment in it. We have to start normalizing these very difficult subjects, what women are not ready to talk about. There is a lot of pain in it, obviously, even in those choices we make. But there are as well women who actually regret not to doing it, you know. Let's say like me. So, you know, these are the same amount of the suffering can come with as well the thing that you keep the child, let's say, and then you go through all the parenting process, because this is the same kind of amount of that for some people, you know, who think that it's different, and then the challenges are ginormous. But we have to really normalize these like choices we are making, even though there is a pain and suffering in both of all the scenarios. Either you did it or you didn't do it, or like you regret it or you didn't regret it. It doesn't really matter. It's all experience, and you all contracted to go through this. The same thing, our kids, it's our contract. They usually contracted with us to just show up in our life that we can actually face our trauma. And that is as well the thing. So if you're a parent and you have a kids, or you don't, it doesn't really matter. If you're a parent or you went through abortion or you are a parent, you know, our kids are just there in this time when the earth is going through such a massive like a shift, for a very specific reason, that we deal with those old energies, that we actually face them and we transmute them in the body. So for a lot of us who are like around 40s, let's say, we are purging a heavy stuff, because even like the transgenerational trauma is there. It is in the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra, when the sacral chakra is pulled out of alignment, it pulls all the other chakras out of alignment. And that is the thing, like the sacral, I start noticing it, that every time I am dealing with the sacral chakra, then I'm dealing with all the other chakras, that they are kind of start to being misaligned as well. And because it's like you're like being forced to fix this center. That's why as well in yoga, yogis are a lot focusing on that chakra. It's like a maintenance center. All the three chakras, what I noticed like so far, like working with the Kundalini and working with all my Kundalini like experiences, then those chakras are kind of going together. You know, the root chakras, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus, they just kind of work in tandem. And then, like, you know, the rest of the chakras are going with it. Usually throat chakra is actually go with it. And then something is in the heart, because like when there is a wound, you feel it as well in the heart. So I was past couple of days, I woke up in the night, I couldn't sleep. It woke me up from the Schumann Resonance. It was all green under the 8 hertz. And that woke me up, and I was just lying down, and I was just like looking what is happening in the body. So I was with the closed eyes, I was just paying attention where the Kundalini is just running up and down, and like removing the blockages. And then I was looking what was showing up for me, like emotionally, like during the days. Usually this is how I work, like with this. And I find out like all sorts of things, obviously, like also the stuck stuff which I didn't see. But before I broke down really emotionally with one of my friends, that I realized that I have no one in my life from the family, like from the earthly family. They all kind of fall off and disappeared. We're not in the touch anymore for many years. And it just kind of broke me, like, you know, like down, because that's a touchy subject, like to having someone to lean onto. But then as well, so here comes the sadness and the loneliness, what we are purging right now, is a really heavy sadness and loneliness. Sadness especially. whatever type of like it comes to you. It comes with the trauma from the either your mother wasn't really there, or the relationship is not deep enough, or there are other issues, you know, the mother died and you are still missing this aspect of the nurturing of this kind of like a woman in age, you know, like I noticed it that I'm like Labrador or like a dog, just wiggle the tail every time I'm having a relationship with the women who are a little bit older than me. Like I'm missing this nurturing aspect of someone like in that age that I could lean to. So, and it made me like emotional, it made me really sad, really sad. And because practically my daughter doesn't have any grandmother, doesn't have any aunts, she doesn't have any these relatives, because on her, from her father's side, there are no women anymore, they all died. So she's the only girl in that family lineage. And on my side, it's extremely complicated, the relationships there. So we don't really see each other. Even though my sister has a kid, you know, I've got a cousin who's got a kid, you know, so my brother has a kid. So it's like, there is so many like cool things that she could have, like if the family settings, she would be super happy, but we don't have that. And it made me extremely sad. So, but then I realized that on this spiritual journey, I formed relationships which are way deeper, much better, that we could talk about the topics and things that you would normally not be able to talk about with anyone else, even in your family. So I think like this is as well happening for a reason, that we realize that we all have someone to lean to, even though it is not someone, let's say, from your bloodline. So that's the one thing what I start noticing. A lot of people are breaking up emotionally because they are sad. The pressure there is just ginormous. Like it's a cocktail of the energies. There's so much pain in the body still. It's still so much trauma. The people are still traumatized, and the society is not thriving. Like the humanity is not thriving. It's more in the survival mode. But that center is the creative mode as well. You know, it's a house of creation. Oftentimes, people who have a problem being creative, it has something to do with that center. It's a center of your desire, your passions, you know, your personal power, and as well, it's a center where we co-create with each other. So we will be dealing this winter for sure. It's not gonna be like so fast. The lower chakras are one of the hardest to master. Well, master. I would say that most of the people in the spiritual community do not have like the root chakra really like worked, including me, you know, like, you know, it's way easier to hanging around in the higher realms than to dealing with like the responsibilities on the earth plane, you know, and paying the bills and like doing all the mundane stuff. But we're gonna have all the insecurities coming out and all these like that there is no one that we can lean to. If you think about it, the mother figure is something like so, just her presence is very grounding, and it's very like it gives you a certain sense of safety and you know, the nurturing aspect, it's just missing for many of us. So we are purging a lot of this. And on top of that, if you are a parent, don't beat yourself up. Let's say that you are not able to provide it for your kids, because we've got contracts, and with these contracts come a different type of challenges, what we have to look at or what we have to purge. So that's one thing. Spiritual bypassing will not work. Sense of belonging and a community is gonna be extremely important. So stick with your tribe, whoever it is. Even the new people who you resonate more with are gonna provide you with that shoulder to like lean onto and, you know, have a nice cry. And you know, even if, let's say, I am a rough person, you know, so that's sometimes I have to apologize to all of my friends like that I am so like straightforward and rough sometimes, but I still love them to the bits, you know. Well, it doesn't mean that I am not gonna blow them their socks off. but it is what it is. So the trauma's back. We're gonna be dealing a lot with that. So pay attention to the pain in the body, but try to face it, because usually the moment you face these things, or find even someone who you can talk it through, all those pains, just talk it through, you will get lighter and cry a lot, because the crying is usually one of the biggest release. So the sadness, loneliness around this mothering, nurturing aspect is showing up for us right now a lot. On the other hand, we're gonna be looking on, of course, on the insecurities, the financial, karmic shit what we created along the way in this lifetime, that we're gonna be definitely dealing with. The skeletons from the closet are gonna be popping up. So just have a look honestly on how did you live so far. We did a lot of unconscious stuff, during our life, but now we have to have a look on it consciously. So all you have to do is just to consciously have a look on it and say, okay, here I was unconscious and I did all sort of a stupid stuff around money or around, I don't know, whatever it is. So this is something what we're gonna be looking at. Probably one of the best practice, in my opinion, for the lower chakras is the Kundalini yoga. They do so much on those bottom chakras that even my pelvic bone was actually hurt. And I remember that I started these new practices with this beautiful yogi. His name is Jaidev. He's phenomenal. His Kundalini yoga is one of the most pleasant Kundalini yoga, because he's got that beautiful, beautiful music. And he made the practices bearable, because Kundalini yoga is hardcore for me. I don't like it. I do not like it. I've been always guided to do it, but I do not like it. But I'm doing it. And I have to say that I did a couple of these practices, I don't know, this month, and they started to releasing all these issues I used to have, and old contracts, and don't want to say cords, but I was looking on I did some cord cutting, and that was a mistake with the cutting. It has to be pulled out. So I was dealing with those roots which actually stood in my body, and usually you've got them in the back. The cords are usually in the back. I had a lot stored around my hips in this cloud, and usually when you have this kind of a stuff going on, you've got also some leakages of your life force, and that's why the Kundalini yoga is one of the in my opinion, it's one of the best one for those lower chakras, because I did a lot of type of yoga, and that one is really one of the best one for the lower chakras. But Sadhguru has a great practice, great Kriya. I love the Kriya. I definitely am a Kriya yogi, that's my stuff. I like the 20 minutes powerful stuff which deals with everything in the body, and then you're done. He's got Isha Kriya, I think it's called, and that is always dealing with the maintenance center. So if you pick up something like that, then you might be having less physical pain, because I noticed that if you open up the meridian system, the nadis, then when the energy can flow through the body easier when there is some pain, or if we have if we are hit with the 5D gamma lights, or we are hit with some lower energies, they move through the body way faster, way easier, without creating more pain. So I was having a lot of pain a couple of days. I was filtering all sorts of things, and there was still something old which I didn't see regarding to my mom and the nurturing, and all the emotion came to the surface. I was watching the body, how is it going, and it was going from the pelvic bone, then it went to the hip, then it went down to the legs, And then I was thinking, okay, so that's in the knee, there is jealousy, so what I'm jealous of? And then like my mind just showed me, like I'm actually jealous of the people who have families which are functional. And I was like, oh wow, cool, like, well, that's not bad for something worse. And then it went down to the feet, and then it jumped back to the heart, and then back to the throat chakra, and then it went down again into the pelvic bone, and then into my back, where was the cord. And then I saw these visions of, because I'm visionary, so subconscious is gonna show me as well the past events or what I'm dealing with. And I won't say, I don't want to say intuitively know, it's more absolute knowingness, it's more like telepathy. I would say that my higher self is really like just like kind of being the leader on this cleaning for me. So, and then after all of that, I felt a part of like the higher self going a little bit more into the body, like a woo. That's what I notice, like when they say like that that we are actually bringing or merging the physical, the non-physical with the physical, and bringing more of the higher self into the body, is every time you clean up part of your trauma, if your chakras are open, you will be feeling it physically, well, energetically. You could even see it. You will be feeling like that. It's like a more of that is going inside of you and more existing inside of you. You get different awareness. You get a little bit like I don't want to say different lenses, but you will be more neutral. You will be more compassionate. You will be more understanding of this human journey. I don't know many people who are like that, but there are some. That is what is happening right now. We're gonna be looking on the different layers of the trauma. We've got solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse the 25th this month, October, and then we have the 7 or 8, it's a total lunar eclipse. And then these things are becoming, everything will become a little bit more illuminated. So whatever you're doing now during the eclipse season, take it easy. Don't take any crazy actions, because you don't have all the puzzle pieces. Usually when there are the eclipses, there is something what is hidden that we still didn't see. And then when the lunar eclipse comes afterwards, then after that you can take some actions. Which is going to be very interesting because I'm moving in that time. So I'm probably not seeing something there. I might be surprised like with all these moving things. So yeah, guys, that's it. We're gonna check the Schumann Resonance chart. Okay guys, so let's check out the Schumann Resonance. You can see here, this is from 14th of October. This kind of a particular, this green thing, like I cannot stop it. Okay, so this green thing here, that's below, and this one, this is particular. This was so sore. Also this one, and like this kind of like around 8 hertz, here. That all is what I'm talking about in the video, about all the sacral chakra. All of that. This kind of activity woke me up in the night. I was like, what the heck is happening? All my tides, like my inner tides, there is vulnerability. There was a pain in there, so there is a vulnerability around like the sacral chakra works that way. Like, it's all the bottom thing, but you have to have a look like how vulnerable you are able to be actually with the people, because we are dealing a lot with how we co-create with each other and how we are actually how are our relationships, how deep they are, how able we are able to open up to others and connect with them. Also, you might check on your cords. There is some interesting activity in here, which I don't really know what that is. We still are having here the fear frequency. It's kind of fabricated, you cannot see it, but like a bit by bit it kind of looks the same like how it looked before. But with the cord, this is a coat as well. See this line. So we got some upgrades for sure in here as well. This one looks as well as a code. Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of like studying and like trying to figure things out like as I go. Oh yeah, about the cord cuttings. If you cut the cords with the other people, the energetic cords, you might have the roots still inside of your body, and that's why the better idea about a cord cutting is actually pulling the cords and dissolving it, you know, because if you just cut the cords, then you create as well a trauma on the other side with the person who was like connected to. So when you pull it out, that's much better idea, because this way you are going to create a better relationship with the person or reconnect with the same person again on a healthier way with a new energy. So what you're doing, you're just practically cutting the old energetic signature out, and then you can, if you want to, establish a new one with the same person. I did something like that with one of my friends. These days, she had a very difficult time with her mother, and we did that together, and like a boom, like their relationship takes such a turning point, like completely the opposite direction. I was like, it blew my mind. So this is a very powerful thing to do these days, to check out on your cords. Okay, this doesn't work anymore. So this is a Schumann Resonance, so we are really gonna be dealing. Oh, it's actually handy when it stops. This is exactly what woke me up, and this is exactly what we are dealing with right now. It's all the bottom chakras, and we're gonna be dealing with it for quite some time. This is not gonna go away. Okay, so that's one part of it. Okay, this is the old stuff from the 11th of October. This is where it started as well, for sure. And there was some big push. Usually when we've got the 5D gamma lights, that's the white stripes. When that happens, a lot of things come to the surface. And like practically since the time, this is a photo, I took the screenshot. Since the time we start having all these like a thing. This is how the chart continues to look like after a couple of days. So you can see here as well the red stuff that start being pushed. A lot of things were being pushed to the surface. A lot of sadness, a lot of loneliness, and here it comes like starting to really purge heavily, like from the, and that is the 13th. Yeah, and this is the latest post I posted on the Instagram, so you can see we are purging sadness, the old trauma and other layers of it, and it all belongs to the childhood, like experiences, the sense of belonging, loneliness, sadness, abandonment, a cocktail of unworthiness, lack of feeling loved and nurtured are few to mention. You know, yeah, there was a lot of humiliation. I went through a lot of humiliation as a child. So I was actually purging a lot of that. You know, that's all the tides, the inner tides. It's all sacral chakra. You know, when the thing with the sacral chakra is that when that one gets out of an alignment, that it creates all the misalignment in the other chakras. So, and how the chakra get misaligned the biggest is when you are being disempowered, you know, when you are being humiliated, when you are not being supported, or when you are being manipulated. Even manipulation, I think I would say that it's like, say, it's the number one manipulation is number one thing what actually pulls this chakra out of the alignment. And then of course the root chakra is all about a survival. There is as well a lot of a karma around finances, and then as well lack of joy and like being stuck and this kind of stuff. That's all in the feet and in the legs. So here comes as well all sort of like a physical ailments that you might be encountering like on the journey, and the tribe and the loneliness. Yeah, you know, be grateful for those amazing relationships you have right now or you created, because those are gonna keep us afloat these days. You know, it doesn't have to be a bloodline relationships. This is gonna be changing for us all. there might be some sleepless nightmares, exhaustions, you know, lot of pain. So take extra care for yourself. Salty baths, as I said, a Kundalini yoga is one of the best one for the lowest chakras, but like, you know, follow your own guiding system. But in my opinion, for what helped me the most is actually Kundalini yoga. Even though I don't like it, I still keep doing it, because like you feel the relief straight after the practice. That's why it's so powerful. So you can go to I wanted to show you one more thing. Here we go. This guy,
and then under the butt.
This guy's got a brilliant yoga. His name is Jaidev. He is phenomenal. You might be finding a lot of things like what you can find, like, you know, there's a lot of good breath work where he's explaining what it does in the body, and you will have to experience it, you know, it's all experiential. I will leave the link below in the video for him. You can find the webpage. He's got some free amazing Kundalini yoga trainings. This was for the equinox activation, what I was doing. It's phenomenal. It keeps me going, and it actually released a lot of the trauma that I didn't even know I had. So yeah, those practices are all powerful. So there is more written on all these trauma pieces on my Instagram. I put, I think, 3 posts on how is it happening in the body. I did something about chakras on the blog. It's already there, and I'm gonna dive deeper into the sacral chakra, I think. I'm just collecting some data, and I'm gonna be writing separate about each chakra, but I think I'm gonna start actually with sacral chakra instead of the root chakra, because that's root chakra is all about survival mode, you know, roof above the head and things like that. Study your natal chart. I mean, this is really handy, but use a Vedic astrology, because I actually realized that I'm Leo instead of Virgo, and that kind of was very surprising for me. But I found a lot of things and a lot of clarity in studying my own natal chart, and I would highly suggest not to have someone reading your natal chart, but to really go by yourself and do the digging, because you will be guided. This way you will as well exercise more of your intuition, and this way as well you will be empowering yourself, obviously, and knowing yourself better and understanding the journey what you took on. Because I think for me the biggest and most valuable tool, apart from the yoga and apart from all these practices I've been doing, is to study my natal chart, but by myself. So I took a couple of courses on like a Vedic astrology. I'm diving deep constantly into my natal chart at least 3 times a week, and I'm constantly studying the planets by myself. So I can even tell you a tiny little pieces, but I always will point you to do it yourself, to study this yourself, because it will give you, first of all, it gives you more power. You empower yourself. It gives you certain knowledge. It gives you great guidance how to navigate these days planetary, because it takes a while before the planets have no power over us, you know. So it takes a while to transcend these influences, and it's good to know, okay, here I have this, I don't know, Saturn in whatever, and I'm manipulative, so it's good to know as well. I have a look on your kids, it's gonna make it way easier. And well, I found that a great person, she's doing feng shui, and she helped me to actually understand the elements and how to work with my daughter, because she's constantly draining me. We are very different type of, and we are different a little bit energetically. She's extremely hectic, and she's very manipulative. So it is just driving me nuts. But it helped me really a lot to understand how to work with her. So I will leave a link below. She can have a look. Just, it's very simple to have a look on your element. I am earth and my daughter is wood. For us to balance, let's say, we need a fire element between us as well. This way I understood why all the elements like water, air, fire, and the other elements, like in the nature, let's say, how it drains me. Because let's say I notice it that when I am by the sea, I get drained very fast afterwards. When I'm too much by the fire, I get drained by the fire. And I can feel like how my aura gets burnt completely, like if I'm too long by the fire. With the wind is the same. I feel like completely stripped away, like exhausted after a while if I am too long in the wind. So I didn't understand why is that, and this helps me really a lot to understand, first of all, myself and how to live, how to stay a little bit more grounded as well. So this is a great thing to do. It's from the Chinese Feng Shui to examine the elements, and this is all tools that help me. You know what, I'm gonna put it actually on my webpage so you can contact the person. She speaks English as well. She speaks Czech and English. It's my Czech friend. I put there a little ad for her, so you can get your elements examined as well with your family, because that was great. It was very handy. She explained me how to work together, that we don't exhaust each other, which was great. I found it really helpful. So this is another thing what I will be definitely putting on my webpage to that you can contact her to just like make things easier for yourself. Okay, so try to do some shadow work. Be brave and face those wounds, because it gets harder in the body if you spiritual bypass. So that's why those who are bypassing, I have a fear as well to look on their shadow, suffer so much physically, because there is a lot of abandonment in our body as well. There's a lot of victimhood in our body as well. There is a lot of anxiety. You know, there is a lot of depressions. People are depressed and suicidal these days. You know, there is like a doom. Humanity is messed and fucked, and we're going to the hell. This kind of like energies are there right now. So remember, this is what we are transmuting in the body, and before it gets better, it needs to get worse. Usually we have to be brought to the knees before we just stand up and like change. There are gonna be big changes happening after or during the eclipses. The eclipse season is always such a transformative, and usually a lot of stuff happens those days. I'm sending you a big virtual hug. Thank you so much for being here. If you need me, you know where to find me. I'll be packing and moving, so I'm not sure how often I can do the video right now. I'm posting as it goes on the Instagram. There I am more often, but it's still unpredictable. You know, guys, unfortunately I cannot make it like a really, I can't do that, unfortunately, because it's always something. My daughter's sick, there is something at school, moving, something's broken, so it's almost impossible to plan. But I keep it going at least weekly here and there. So just like if you need some more insights, you know where to find me. Okay, be good. I'm sending you a big virtual hug, and see you next time. Bye.